Busco at Eastside, NECC Small School Division Championship could come down to these two teams.
Definitely.
I think on paper they're definitely the best two. We saw what Busco had. They took Garrett to the wire. It's a 7-6, instant classic at Turtletown last week. What do you take away from that game when you saw what Busco had and what they can do against a team like Eastside?
I was impressed with Busco last week because all that we heard about Garrett, and this is true, they could be their best team in a decade. And Busco hung with them. I think there was some people in Busco that really thought, man, we could take our lumps tonight, and then they ended up only losing by 1. So just a phenomenal effort by Busco last week, and of course, like you mentioned, I think the small school conference championship in the NECC comes down to this game. I think Eastside, their schedule has been very rough, so they're sitting there at 1-2, but they're a very good 1-2 team. So I think the key, like last week, comes down to his physicality, and I think Busco was able to at least match Garrett physically up front, and you're going to have to do that against Eastside. They're big and strong up front, and if Busco can hold their own, they got a great shot.
Yeah, Busco's sophomore quarterback, Tom Rich, is really kind of putting it together. They haven't asked him to win a ton of games, but he's been really good managing that offense for Busco. So that's
the thing with Busco is a lot of times when they're good, and they can usually run the ball, but if they play somebody that stops the run, then they can't move the ball very well. But with Tom Riches, they were able to. The 2 last week against Garrett.
Yeah.
They start their final drive inside their own 10. They get up to midfield with a long pass. I mean, it was very un-Busco-like. Usually we're like, man, they got to go 90 yards in a minute. They can't do this on the ground. And then they throw a long pass.
Yeah.
So they can move the ball vertically if they have to.
If you're Eastside, you've got a guy in Aaron Dean out there that can get behind the defense, specifically against NECC competition. And then you've got a quarterback in Connor Dove that in his 17th year playing quarterback at Eastside High School. He's been good. He's been good every year. It starts with those guys, and Kizan Gerard also with the running back position. I mean, he's a bruiser. What do they do offensively that's going to be tough for Busco to counter, and how can Eastside, I don't know, put their stamp offensively on this game? Because as you mentioned, they've played some really good competition thus far.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the good thing for Eastside. They've been challenged up to now, just like Busco has, and they've played teams like Woodland and stuff, so they've seen it. So they should be ready to play on Friday night, and they're going to see nothing from Busco that they haven't seen a week or 2 or 3 weeks before. So they should be ready to play, know what to expect, and I think the key is for them minimizing mistakes, being able to move the ball, balanced offense. Connor Dove is at his best when he does not have to throw 20, 25 times. When he mixes it in 12 to 15 times and really can balance that offense is when that offense is at their best.